Yeah. So how come we're not? I mean, look, I saw the J&J lawsuit that took place. I think started in 2019, 2020, October 13th, and then July 21st. Drug distributors and J&J reached $26 billion deal to end opioids lawsuits. Are you seeing a major progress being made by both doctors? Because you give credit to four reasons why this is taking place, right? It wasn't just let's blame the pharmaceutical companies. It was four different things that you talked about. Are you seeing this being an issue that the folks at the top from the politics or whoever holds them accountable is bringing this up more, or are they kind of looking the other way from your experience?
My experience is that these settlements that you're talking about, and if you look closely at the settlements, you'll see that how many years that they're paid out over. And it's oftentimes 7 years, sometimes 10 years that they are making these, these restitution payments, okay? But understand that they've made billions and billions on their drugs, and they will continue to sell and make billions while they're making these payments. So it's really just yes, the number sounds big, and you might say, well, it's better than nothing, but it's a good business model. I mean, no executives went to jail, and none are going to jail, and the Sacklers, the ones who own Purdue Pharma, they just got a bankruptcy settlement earlier this month. They are immune to civil litigation in perpetuity now. They get to keep over. There are many billions they've made. They get to keep all that, and they never admitted wrongdoing. So fines seems to be what pharmaceutical companies do and is seen as the cost of doing business. And it's a good business decision if you're a pharmaceutical company or if you're a board or a shareholder. Like, yes, you market these drugs. They're not really approved for what you say they're using, but we're making a lot of money. Eventually, someone will impose a fee, but it'll be far less than what we've made. So that's a good business decision. And what I want to point out to you and some of your viewers is that this is not the first time that has happened. Other drugs have had similarly been marketed off-label, and I'm referring to a drug called Neurontin here. It's just a very famous case. Neurontin was marketed by Pfizer as a drug for seizure disorder if the other medicines weren't controlling it, but then it got off-label marketed for everything from headaches to ADHD. And because of that, it got so overprescribed and made billions. And they had to pay fines subsequently as well, several $100 million. But if you're paying $700 million on a drug you made billions per year, that is a good business model. You pay the fine, no executives go to jail, the shareholders are happy. The only people that get harmed are the patients. So
so I'm looking at this. Well, you said the arrangement, you're right. Under this agreement, the country's three distributors would make payments of $21 billion over 18 years. Johnson & Johnson would pay $5 billion over 9 years. So it's chump change to these guys. But can you go back to the in perpetuity, which means there is no lack of accountability? Can you unpack what that means when they say it's in perpetuity? So if something happens, if you can unpack that for the rest of us.
What that means is that according to, all right, and I can't claim to be a bankruptcy legal expert, okay? But according to the stories I've read about the bankruptcy filing in the state of New York for Purdue Pharma, the Sacklers have been absolved of wrongdoing, and they may not be held accountable for any future civil litigation due to the harm of their product that they caused through exposing them even irresponsibly. And remember that Purdue Pharma had to pay hundreds of millions back in like 2007 for irresponsible marketing of their product even then. So there's nothing new about the irresponsible marketing they basically got away with it.
So that's
what it means is that.
How can they do that though? Who allows them to do that? Are these politicians who are helping them do that? Who allows these contracts to be written in a way where they're protected?
It has to do with how the bankruptcy laws are written, and they are written true by politicians. But remember that politicians are writing these laws that are often put together by the lobbyists that represent the corporate business interests. So they make the laws very favorable to the business interests.
Sure.
And so then you can now you've got the law in the books, and you're like, hey, we'd like to do something, but this we can't because here's how it's written now. And I'm like,
So if you like this little short clip from an interview I did, click over here to watch the entire interview. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.